There's one topic that comes up quite a lot in regards to avoidance is that their partner often wants to spend a lot more time with them than the avoidant partner wants to spend, reciprocated. And it's not just in romantic relationships, this can be friendships as well. This can be quite frustrating, especially if you don't really understand why this is happening. It can be very easy to take it personally as well if you don't really know, what's going on. In this video, I just wanted to spend some time like breaking it down, what's going on with this behaviour, and I hope you like it. If you're new here, welcome to my channel, Secure Links. I'm Jess. I'm recovering vehicle avoidant, and if you do find my content interesting, please consider subscribing to my channel, and if you like this video, then please pop a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate that. So some avoidants are a little bit more strict with this than others, but kind of knowing other avoidants personally, having conversations with them, and really kind of seeing this within myself, have come to realise that it is a common theme with avoidance. So with avoidance, I think that a lot of, they're just not very go with the flow with things. So they do like to plan ahead when they're spending time with someone. For me, this can even be if I'm not in the mindset to reply to a text message, I can't bring myself to reply to it because I need to be in, how do I explain it? If I've had a really, really busy day, and especially if that conversation is at any risk of turning into a deep conversation or an emotional conversation, I just don't have it in me emotionally to open that message and start the conversation, which can come across quite rude, but it's definitely not that I don't want to speak to that person. It's more that I just need to recharge my emotional battery, and I'm just struggling with it basically. So alone time for an avoidant, especially when they were growing up, this was kind of like their safe space away from walking on eggshells. Oftentimes when they were around people, especially like their caregivers or adults who weren't regulating their own emotions properly and who themselves didn't really know healthy conflict resolution, it creates this internal programming that whenever you're around other people, so as an adult you're around other people, at any point in time things could just erupt out of nowhere, kind of, I guess, creates this underlying anxiety around being around other people. And it's not just people that you're close to either. It could literally be when you're at the like supermarket, you're out shopping, going to work, like I say, like texting a lot. All of them situations, you're open to some eruption happening. I'm not saying that it is going to happen, but it's just an underlying anxiety that it could happen. Then you are going to find yourself in an emotionally unsafe situation. So when I'm saying anxiety, it's not like panic attack level anxiety. It's more just like a really low level kind of, just sometimes it can go undetected if you're not a self-aware avoidant. But what you might realize is when you get home, it's like this sigh of relief when you're alone in your own house and you just like pop your keys on the side and sit down. You're like, that's what it's like every time an avoidant basically comes from communicating with people or being in a busy shopping centre or something. They get home and they just feel this big sigh of relief because all of that underlying stress, it just goes away. And alone time for an avoidant is they can use this time to like recharge the batteries, their social batteries, their emotional batteries, so they can really find a lot of comfort in being on their own, spending quality time with themselves, doing art or any other hobbies that they like to do, go out for a walk on their own. Like some avoidants will just go out and eat in a restaurant on their own. Like personally, that's not something that I do often, but walking on my own, like I said, doing like arts and crafts and things like that you maybe would do with other people. I love doing that on my own because it's just really calming and relaxing. It really helps me recharge. Now, I think a lot of people think that avoidants don't want relationships. Like, this is untrue. I have done another video on this about the biochemistry of an avoidant attachment style. Humans are social species, so we do have, needs around social connection, and it can actually negatively affect our hormones because there's a lot of hormones that are produced through bonding, so oxytocin, serotonin, vasopressin. I will put the link for that video. It goes a little bit more in depth about that in the description. But ultimately, relationships are healthy. It's what we're designed to do, to have multiple relationships in our life, and especially we're designed to reproduce with a romantic partner. So it is something that is a need for us. It is on a lower priority on the list than our other survival needs, but it is a need that we do want it. It's just we just struggle a lot of the time, especially if the partner that we're with doesn't understand the need for alone time and the reasoning behind it. So this is why, as an avoidant, it's really, really important, which I never used to be that good at it, but being really open about the need for space, the need for time alone to recharge, so that the other person doesn't take it personally and actually allows you to have that free time alone. Because often when someone's not really understanding it, you're not very clear with why you need it, and you're not expressing it, that person's blowing up your phone, and it actually, like, it's stopping that recharging happening and creating like even more space to be needed than if you just are allowed that time. You can recharge your battery a lot faster, come together again, start bonding, and spend more time together again. So avoidants are hyper independent, and this is a survival technique mechanism that they've learned from such a young age. They have a massive importance around autonomy, around their own hobbies and interests, and like side hustles and things like that, when they really like someone. And because they do kind of struggle with expressing their own needs and verbalizing what they want, sometimes they can overgive in the beginning with their time, and then they start like having this internal battle and start kind of resenting the time that they spend with the other person, and resenting themselves for not speaking up about it, but they avoid it because they're not getting what they want done. They're getting distracted and spending too little time on their sense of self. They start worrying that they're losing their sense of self, not keeping on top of things. It can create quite a big issue with between the avoidant and the partner, and you might find that they start to pull away seemingly out of nowhere, but this is probably what's going on. It's really important when you're friends or in a relationship with an avoidant to realise that their internal software isn't going to change just because you start using protest behaviours and making them feel bad for needing alone time. I think understanding it is a massive key, but also everybody has a choice to decide whether this relationship is working for you. Like, that's the thing. Nobody's forcing you to be in a relationship with this person, and if the avoidant individual that you're either friends with or in a romantic relationship with is not able to give you the time together that you crave, same as you're not able to give them the space that they need to recharge, then obviously you need to make that decision whether that person is for you, or you need to break up, as hard as that might be. I think in situations like this, communication is key, and coming up with like a middle ground or a good compromise that works best for both of you is really important. And when you do spend time with them, expressing how important it is that they're present with you in that moment can be really beneficial. So yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for taking the time to watch it, and I hope it provided you with some sort of understanding around the avoidance need for time alone.